Welcome to this painting tutorial. Today we're going to paint a bright autumnal landscape using oil paint. I'm using a stretched canvas that's been pre-painted using a background colour, and if you're interested in knowing more about this, please see my video on background colours using the link above. I'm starting with a small filbert brush and a palette knife to mix the colours. Some white, cerulean blue and a little primary cyan. It's made a lovely bright blue. I need a decent amount of paint for the sky because I'll use it to cover almost half the picture. Starting in the middle of the canvas, I'm going back and forth using this brush. It's been used a few times. If you want to keep your brush in pristine condition, then you might want to work in one direction only to avoid the bristles becoming splayed. This paint's quite thick here, so if you've got the same, you can add a little linseed oil to thin the paint. It'll make it go further, but remember to keep it opaque because we don't want it too thin, as we want the sky to be blue. I'm not using too much to thin this because it does slow the drying time. There's a slight mound or bank over on the right. Adding some more white. We're going to mix a colour for the trees and the wooded area using a mix of white, red, crimson, yellow ochre, French ultramarine. Basically, it's red, yellow and blue to make brown, an earthy tone. Adding some more blue, the French ultramarine, to make a darker shade of the same colour. The lighter red-brown mix will be used as a foreground colour, and the darker shade of brown will be used more as a background colour. This will go under the skyline and for shaded areas. By adding some white and yellow ochre to the light brown mix, I can make a highlight colour. This will go along the top of the trees. For the grass, it's a very red colour, made from both yellows, crimson and white. This mix is going in the middle of the canvas, right up to the edge of the trees and the bushes. Adding a little cadmium red, we can create a lighter colour using the yellows and white, and the yellows mixed with the red will make an orange shade. Here I'm doing a path between the grasses. I'm going to fill in now using a mix of different hues and tones, some of them tending more towards pink by using crimson and white, Others have more of a yellow tint. Where the different colours meet, we'll blend them using the brush to soften the edge, making it slightly out of focus or less distinct. To make some shadow for the trees, I'm going to combine ultramarine, yellow ochre, crimson, ultramarine and viridian, giving it more definition on the shaded side of the bushes. Taking some colour along the edge of the water and blending these colours. Now we're adding some crimson and primary cyan to make a darker shade, and this will go along the edge of the land next to the water. crimson and French ultramarine to add shadow beneath the trees, and I'm using short sideways strokes to blend it. Adding more crimson to give depth to the land, to make it more 3D in appearance, creating some shape and making it less flat. Now I'm using a light orange along the top of this ridge to give more undulation to the land. Some white to highlight the path. Now for the water, because it's a reflection of the sky, I'm going to use a similar mix of white, cerulean blue and primary cyan. It's going to be quite uniform in colour, filling in this shape. It's a negative space bordered by the land, and this will make the lake. The water's quite still in the absence of a tide, but I'll use some white to show the reflection of the light. Getting back to the land, to make a green for the foreground, I'm using Viridian, lemon yellow and the blue mix, and yellow ochre. I'll mix different shades of green to fill in the area in the foreground. Adding more yellow. Now we're adding some highlights. A brighter highlight for the path, the tops of the bushes and the grassy area, To make the tree trunks for the forest, I'm using a very fine round brush, and I've picked up some dark brown, stroking in multiple directions to make it seem more natural. A bit of dark grass next to the water, and flicking the brush upwards to create finer points. Adding some more definition to the landscape. I'm making a couple of figures here. They are silhouettes of people walking in the long grass. To the filbert brush, and using a light brown, I'm dabbing areas of colour to the tops of the trees, using the flat part of the brush. A very bold move, making a large dark outline of a tree trunk in the foreground, using a small filbert brush, the flat side for the centre of the trunk, and sideways on for the thinner branches. Adding some highlights to the trunk and the branches. And now the treetops. Not forgetting highlights on the people too. few grasses in the foreground. Some dark grassy area here and more definition. Finally, I'm extending the land to create some islands on the lake. If you've painted along to this video and you want to put a link to your video or a picture, you can now add this to the viewers post section on this channel. Thank you for watching and for your support. I'll post some more videos soon.